the number one question I've been asked is, why did we choose international adoption over picking a kid from the good old USA? And there's a lot of reasons why. First of all, I think no matter where the child is born, they deserve a family. I don't think just because you're born in the United States, you should deserve a family over someone born somewhere else. And I know in some of these countries, these kids have zero chance of being adopted we're one of the only countries that allows special needs adoptions from other countries. So, I know the child we brought home from China would still be waiting in an orphanage. He would never be adopted by someone in China. So that was one reason. And that was our main reason, because we were seeking to adopt a child with special needs. In the United States, there are people waiting to adopt kids with Down syndrome. There's a waiting list because most people have abortions when they find out they're having kids with Down syndrome and they don't want them, or so there's just very few available for adoption. There are a lot of people here wanting to adopt and fewer kids. So it's just, if you want to adopt a newborn, you most likely are going to have to wait. And it's also, it's not just as straightforward as, we wanted a child younger than our youngest biological child, who was at the time 2. And there aren't generally 2-year-olds available for adoption in the United States. If they've been in foster care and they are available, there are hundreds of people waiting.
I think it begs the question. I mean, we do hear that there's a lot of children that are waiting for adoption in the U.S., and it's true. Yes. There are a lot of children that are either in foster care or even that that are legally free for adoption. But there's some real challenges that come along with that, especially if they're in foster care. Most states, and all states really, the first thing that the state wants to do is to get that child back into the family, into their biological family. And so you may be able to, as a foster parent, you'll have a child in your home right away, but that child may not stay in your home. And that's a real struggle for a lot of families. And I think it does take a special kind of person, maybe not even special, but it takes a different kind of person than maybe who you are, to be able to say, yes, I'm going to have this child in my home, and that child may leave. If they don't leave, then I would love to adopt them, and then be able to do that continually, and that can be really hard. And so, yes, there's a lot of children in the U.S., but the system is set up in a way that makes it really kind of difficult for parents to want to get into that.
Yeah.
Well, and also to wait for a birth parent to choose you when there's so many international children waiting to be chosen. I have a lot of adoptive parents come to me who've waited years and years to be chosen. And that has weighed on them and has played on their emotions, where they're finally saying, look, we just want to be parents.
Yeah.
We haven't had the opportunity to be parents. They don't have biological children like the both of you do, and they're saying we've waited in the US. We've let that play on our guilt or our emotions, and we've waited to be parents, and we never got chosen.
Yeah.
So now we're willing to go and choose some children that need to be parented, that are waiting. And so I think that it comes down to that sometimes.
And oftentimes, and correct me if I'm wrong, but oftentimes it's just a feel. Mm-hmm. You feel like your child is here.
Yes, exactly.
And whatever this here is, that's where you go to try to find that child. And that may be domestic infant adoption, it may be foster care, it may be international adoption, it may be a second chance adoption, where a child that was adopted internationally, where it doesn't work out, and you adopt them here in the U.S. I mean, there's just all these different ways. You need to go wherever your child is, and you can call that spiritual, you can call that gut intuition, whatever you want to call it. A lot of people that I talk to just say, that's where I felt like I needed to be.
Well, I mean, I've got clients from all over the world. I mean, truly all over the world, from every different religious background. And I think almost every single one of them have said to me that they felt that God had called them to wherever, whether it was, you know, whatever country, whatever, but they had felt pretty much called to wherever they were, you know, like they'd been called to Haiti or called to, they just felt like in their gut, that's where they belonged. So I think whatever it is that you're drawn to, called to, whatever it is.
And we shouldn't judge people's decisions. There's children everywhere and that are going to need help. And you know what? Children that are placed immediately here in the U.S. as infants, they need that help too, because you know, and so it's just wherever you need to be. I work in international adoption, but I've adopted domestically. I don't think I'll ever adopt internationally, not because I don't think international adoption is wrong, you know, or that it's too hard or whatever. It's just because my children were in Maryland and in Utah, you know, and that's where they were.
But that's what you and your wife felt you needed to do. So I just think that's, you know, it's what we all have felt we needed to do.
Yes,
So.
I think there should be, you know, I think any way you choose to adopt is beautiful, and I think any way you choose to help a child is amazing, and that's that. Whether you know, help kids in the U.S. or you help kids somewhere else, it's all important and it's all valuable, and it's
Yeah, and it helps that child.